Hey, what's up, everybody? So here it is. We got the NBA Finals 2021 in July. We got the Phoenix Suns.
We got the Phoenix Suns,
Milwaukee Bucks,
and the Milwaukee Bucks. Maybe they could see that, maybe not. Who knows?
Yeah, man. So awesome NBA Finals. These two games in the regular season between both of them, they were kind of like track meets. A lot of fun to watch, very high scoring. Basically, I would say more at Phoenix's pace, more so than the Bucks. But yeah, man, just give me your overall thoughts on your excitement level about the finals.
I feel like these are the two most closely matched teams than we've had in maybe since the Heat Spurs days. Maybe
In the finals.
In the finals, yes.
Yeah.
Like it feels like these are the two best teams in the playoffs playing each other. Whereas some years it doesn't feel that way. Like Miami last year didn't feel like the best team in the East. They were just the team that happened to get there. What was the year before that? That was Golden State Toronto, right?
In 2019?
Yeah, and then they had all those injuries in the finals. But yeah, this should be awesome, especially if Giannis plays. We don't know what percentage he'll be at, but he's going to try to give it a go.
Yeah, I mean, from what I've heard, Budenholzer, the training staff, they were evaluating him. They didn't want to give too much out of the bag. They just said he was doing court work. He looked good. He almost looked like he was still limping. But the bottom line is it's a hyperextended knee. There is no structural damage. So, yeah, I'd be surprised if he doesn't play at least by game 2 in this series.
Yeah, he's been upgraded from doubtful to questionable. Again, by the time this goes up, we'll probably already know and look dumb. But who cares? But it's basically the same track as like you can't go from doubtful to playing. You have to get upgraded slowly on the injury chart in order to play. So they're making the paperwork necessary moves to make sure Giannis can play in game 1. Even if he does or not.
The injuries have been a big theme throughout the whole playoffs. You know, we've never had this many injuries in the playoffs. But
2 all-star players.
Yeah. And when I'm looking at the Bucks and the Suns, the Suns are pretty much all good to go. Chris Paul had some, he had to fight through some nagging injuries, but nothing too serious. But the Bucks, they're not going to have DiVincenzo. Obviously, he had the bone spurs in the ankle, and Giannis is, the hyperextended knee. So I would say the Bucks are probably a little bit more banged up than the Suns, and that should probably be a big factor in the series as well.
Yeah, it's like something wrong with Cam Johnson. I don't know exactly what, but he just seems to be banged up. And then Devin Booker's got the broken nose, and he's refusing to wear the mask. But they're pretty much unscathed, as much as you can be unscathed in these playoffs. But yeah, I'm excited. This should be a 7-game series, and I honestly don't know who's going to win, and that excites me because it's been a while since I've been able to look at a matchup and be like, you know what, I don't know who's winning this. I'm just excited to see it unfold.
It should be a lot of fun. And when I look at the Suns, I ask myself, is DeAndre Ayton and Devin Booker, are they mature enough for the moment, to win a championship this young? And sometimes I'm like, I don't know. But then I think, Chris Paul, this is his 16th year. Look at everything that he's been through. So I feel a little bit more confident when I look at it that way. But then when I look at the Bucks, I'm like, man, if the Bucks win this thing, how good does that Drew Holiday trade look? I mean, it looks like one of the best trades ever. And even you were skeptical about it at first because you thought they gave up maybe too many picks. If it doesn't work now, they're fucked for the future.
Yes.
They're screwed for the future.
I mean, they already got to the finals, which they weren't getting to with Eric friggin' Bledsoe. But yeah, 5 first-round picks for Drew Holiday. And he pretty much was the guy that got them the series when Giannis went down. Him and Chris Middleton both playing off of each other.
No doubt
but
about
it. I don't think Eric Bledsoe could have stepped up in the same way. On top of the defensive stalwartness. Look, I love Drew Holiday.
It's not even worth bringing up. You know that.
No, I know. Yeah, I got to watch Eric Bledsoe for 72 games. He played every game. It was unfortunate.
Well, you know what? When we go back to the beginning of the season, you were kind of down on the Bucks in terms of the depth, and I did agree with you. Like you didn't have Mirotic, you didn't have Ilyasova, you didn't have Kyle Korver. They didn't have as much offensive firepower.
I mean, the best thing they did was the PJ Tucker trade.
Yeah.
I don't know about trading away Torrey Craig for nothing because now he's on the Sun. They trade him to the Suns. So
That's one thing these two teams have in common. That trade right there with
the
Torrey
funny
Craig.
thing is that
He's one of the best defenders in the NBA. I remember when CJ beat him in Game 7 against Denver. There was a huge Twitter war, and someone said Torrey Craig played great defense on CJ, and then CJ was like, "Yeah, great defense, my ass." So, but no, the bottom line is he's known as one of the best perimeter defenders. Like that's what he does.
yeah, he's just really like the Bucks could use
Tucker
him.
is just as good though.
Yes. I forgot what was it. But yeah, DiVincenzo being out is probably going to hurt them a lot because to me, Connaughton's good. Well, Connaughton's all right, but he's not as good as DiVincenzo.
No, not as that. Wait, I mean,
he's more athletic than DiVincenzo, but DiVincenzo's a better defender.
Better defender, yes, and probably a better shooter too.
Yeah,
it's debatable. But Connaughton, like when he plays well though, it's such an added bonus because without those 3 threes against Brooklyn in Game 7, they probably don't win that game. So
no,
to me, he's like that one guy, kind of like a Mike Miller with Miami, or Shane Battier with Miami. Like he would fill that role. Like if he plays well, it's such an added bonus.
To Brook Lopez should probably be able to play more of this series than he did. Yeah. Well, he played a lot once Giannis went down.
Well, you know what? When you watch the games when Giannis wasn't there, I mean, how much better did he look? At least on the offensive end.
Yeah, because there was space in the paint, and he could become the Brook Lopez of old instead of Splash Mountain.
Shaq in some of those games.
Like he got to show he could still do what he did 10 years ago. Yeah. But to me, he'll probably be on. I'm curious to see if they'll stick him on Ayton or if they'll put him on Cam Johnson and try to have Giannis be on Ayton.
Cam Johnson's 6'8". I didn't realize he was that tall, but yeah. But to me, it just that just seems like you're going to put Brook out on a perimeter guy. That just doesn't sound that attractive to me. But I mean, I'd be worried about Brook Lopez in the pick and roll with Chris Paul because Chris is just probably better than ever at using the pick and roll and just creating space, especially going to the right. We were talking about how bad Trae Young, killed the Knicks with the pick and roll, but Chris Paul was almost just as deadly on that pick and roll shooting to the right against Denver. And I could see him kind of eating them apart kind of the same way.
I don't know, but the Bucks just took it away from Trae Young in the previous series. It took pretty much a triple team, but they did it. But it's like Chris Paul is probably considered a better passer than Trae Young, even though Trae Young's really great at it too. But it's like, I don't know if they can do that same blitzing strategy they did against Trae Young to Paul. I mean, the one thing I will give credit to Budenholzer, even though he sticks with what he does in the single games too much, he does change things up from game to game.
Yeah.
He doesn't even though it looks like it in some series, he doesn't completely marry himself to oblivion if something's not working. But this first game is probably just gonna be like a giant feeling out process.
No, I could see that. And when you look back to Game 1 in the last series, he took a lot of criticism there with the whole Brook Lopez on the pick and roll thing. But yeah, I mean, going to depth more. But what did you see from Milwaukee on the blitz on the Trae Young pick and roll?
Brook was stepping up. And Drew was going under the screen, and they would have either Middleton or Giannis, depending on which side he was going to, flash towards the action. So basically, they were like, Brook would be coming up, Drew would be behind him, and whoever was if it was on the weak side or strong side of the floor, either Giannis would be blitzing towards him or Chris Middleton would be blitzing towards him.
Right. And basically, I remember that in Game 2. Game 2, that's how they opened that whole game up.
Once they started doing that, he could really do anything.
Yeah.
But it's like both of these teams are again, this is the two best offensive teams in the playoffs and the two best defensive teams in the playoffs. They've both been extremely versatile. They've never played the same way every series. It's here I am saying, I don't know how it's going to go. What I'm excited to watch, but yeah, that's pretty much how it is. There's a whole lot of both these teams have a lot of guys on the floor that can do their jobs.
No, definitely. And when you watch, I mean, I don't want to put too much stock in the regular season, but it felt very playground-esque oriented, but in a good way, though. It was entertaining. But, when you watch those games, it seemed like Milwaukee would, they pretty much, had the game in their hands the whole game. And then Phoenix, both times, was able to come from behind and win both games. So it should be interesting to see if it goes the same direction.
I mean, I'd be shocked if this doesn't go 7, unless Giannis is like completely unhealthy.
Yeah.
Then I would favor the Suns. But if he looks all right in game 1, I'm thinking this is gonna go 7 and flip a coin on the winner. But to me, it's like, all right, you're either gonna have Chris Paul putting the cap on a 16-year career, or you're gonna have Giannis starting up a dynasty. It's gonna be one of those two results. Yeah, because it's like, is he 20? Is he 26 now?
26, 27. I'm not exactly
because
sure.
that's around the same age LeBron and Jordan each won their first two, isn't it?
Yeah, Jordan was 28. I think LeBron was
oh wow, he's 20.
Yeah, I think it was 26. But yeah, I mean, in terms of Giannis in this series, I'm trying, his kryptonite has been, athletic bigs and building that wall. When I think back to the Toronto series, you had Siakam, you had Ibaka. Last year in the bubble, you had Bam Adebayo. Like I'm thinking probably the key to this series is DeAndre Ayton, like how good he plays in terms of rebounding, rim protection, just defense, help defense, and just him being aggressive. To me, like when I'm looking at this series, I think the guards are pretty much a wash. I think both sets of point guards and shooting guards are going to play great, but I just think DeAndre is really like the X factor in terms of especially how he's going to stop Giannis. I mean, what are your thoughts on that?
I mean, Giannis is definitely more quicker and more athletic than we don't know how he will be on that normal circumstances without a hyperextended knee. He's quicker and more athletic than Ayton. But to me, it's like you can build that wall if Milwaukee has enough non-shooters on the floor. But with swapping out Drew for Bledsoe, that's not the case anymore. That's why nobody's been able to do it. Yeah. It's like you can't build that wall anymore because you're going to leave a shooter wide open, which is, again, another reason they made that Drew Holiday trade. But he's played great this whole playoffs. He's really made it look like Phoenix not complete stupid for not drafting Luka like people said they should. But he's probably got the biggest burden on the entire Phoenix Suns team because he's going to have to put a clamp down on our rim by himself, basically. Right, they may completely change things up and just put Crowder on Giannis and have Ayton just as a help guy.
I could definitely see that.
That might be a way they go.
So you don't think they'll put in Kamitsky and Saric in this series? Not a lot.
They might be borderline unplayable.
Yeah,
depending on how much Giannis plays, they might be unplayable.
But Giannis played great during the regular season against the Suns. I think he averaged 41 in both games combined.
Yeah, even the game where he missed overtime because he turned his ankle. But yeah, God.
Yeah, I mean, it's tough to talk about the series before it even gets going.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's a very attractive matchup, and we haven't seen the Suns in the finals since 1993, 28 years, and I don't think any player on either team has been to the finals
except for Jay Crowder.
That's what makes it intriguing. Right, Jay Crowder, yeah, but no team has won a championship. I think that was
nobody. Nope.
Yeah. So it makes it a lot of fun. But I did want to talk about this for the casual fans, maybe some of the guys that watch our videos, but they're not huge NBA fans. I mean, talk about Chris Paul and the journey. Reunited with his old coach, Monty Williams. It just seems like Chris is just one of the best leaders. The best floor generals, just one of the best people that's ever, come through the NBA. So I'm very happy for him, and I know you are as well, especially, going through Katrina and everything like that, and all he helped out with the city and everything. I mean, how special of a moment is this for you, Chase?
I mean, it's not just it's Monty Williams too, because he started out his coaching career his head coaching career in New Orleans. This series is really tough because I love Drew Holiday and I love Chris Paul. I'm happy either way with whoever wins. But with Chris, it's been like, because even after leaving New Orleans, like he had playoff heartbreaks in New Orleans and he went to the Clippers and nearly got there a couple times and just stuff happened like that insane Rockets. What was that insane Rockets comeback 2015 with Josh Smith and Dwight Howard going insane?
It was 2015. Yeah, this second round. Yeah.
And it's like then the Clippers thing went bad and he ends up in Houston and that
He came
never
so
got.
close, and then he just had really nagging injuries that just prevented it from happening.
And then and then they trade him to Oklahoma City because Oklahoma City thinks they can tank with this guy because of how bad he looked at Houston. He gets them in the damn playoffs, so then they trade him away again. Well, he picked
Imagine what they
Phoenix.
gave up. They gave up Westbrook and all those picks.
God,
To get Chris Paul, and Chris played even better than I think. I think if Westbrook was on that team, there's no way they would have got to the playoffs. Even
no.
So that was one of the most remarkable seasons Chris Paul's had, without a doubt.
But yeah, he picked Phoenix because he felt like that roster was the most suited for him to utilize, and he's gotten himself to the finals. And I don't care about the injury talk. That stuff can happen any day.
Oh yeah.
They got here by being the best team.
I mean, he had the knee cartilage issue, when he was in New Orleans, but it's never been anything like career threatening, like Derrick Rose level. He's
No.
always been pretty much solid in terms of his health. It's just nagging. It's just untimely nagging stuff that's really hurt Chris Paul. From what I've seen. But to me, this is probably the most talented team I think he's been a part of. I think Blake and DeAndre was a little bit more hype than this team, but I just feel like this team, especially because of Booker and Ayton's potential, it's probably, and Monty Williams coaching as well. It's just the most well-rounded team I think he's been on.
Indeed. Especially like it's not like both these teams, they aren't just great at one thing. They're both great offensively and defensively, even though the Suns probably are prettier offensively than the Bucks are, but they still get the job
that's the difference with this Phoenix Suns team compared to 93. I know 93 is a long time ago, but
they were all offense.
The Barkley team, I thought they played better defensively as that series went on. They probably were the better team after game 3. But their first 2 games in Phoenix, their defense was just not there, and that's what cost them the series. So that shows you that these first 2 games in Phoenix, I really want to see them take advantage of the home court advantage and just get off to a good start this time. Because I'm pulling for the Suns. Like I told you before, that Suns team, if I wish any team could have won the championship down the road, it would have been that 93 Suns team. So.
But then Barkley wouldn't be as funny on TNT as he is.
I know.
It's like the source of all his sourness is he never won a ring.
Yeah, the whole championship thing. Yep.
Even when he tried a super team of, what was it, Pippen and Olajuwon, that didn't work either.
Yeah, it was Drexler, Olajuwon, and then eventually it was Pippen. And Olajuwon.
Oh my God. Ugh.
But yeah, man. So I did want to ask you about Chris Paul and Monty Williams. They were only together for 1 year, right?
Yep, 1 year, and then he asked out.
It feels like it was at least 3. The Byron. I think Byron Scott got fired, and Chris was upset about it, and then Monty came in for the 1 year, but then Chris wanted to be. I think what really hurt Chris, when I look back on it, is the LeBron Big 3 thing. I think after that happened, I remember there was a clip of him at Carmelo's wedding, I think it was. And he was like, oh, we want to form our own Big 3. I think he wanted to do with Carmelo and Amari. And I think that kind of got him, thinking about, just different situations, a different place to play. And I think there was a little bit of a scuffle, right? I think Monty said something like, you're supposed to be the help. So I don't know. Did they have a falling out from what you remember?
Yeah, he did say that because Chris Paul was complaining about he didn't have help, and he was like, well, you're supposed to be the help. You're the superstar here. The main thing about that first year is that people forget about is that David West tore his ACL, and he was out for like the last 20 games in the playoffs. Like If he was healthy, I wouldn't be shocked if they eliminate the Lakers in that first round.
They played the Lakers in the first round. What was it, 2 versus 7? And I think it went 6 games.
Yes.
Chris Paul, I remember he was incredible there, and
He
Kobe,
made Aaron Gray look like an all-star.
yeah, and you can see Kobe, like, I think you even said it, like after that series, it looked like he should have like been on the verge of retirement. So yeah, it's a shame that that season had such a dark ending, because he really looked. I mean, it's just a shame that the whole New Orleans Chris Paul situation came to an end at
I
that
mean,
time.
it was they traded away Tyson Chandler for a Mecca before in bad return when they probably should have kept him, because like that they had a 59 win team and they didn't keep it together. They just let things go by the wayside.
But the bottom line is, Monty was coached there for a couple more years, but he was even saying, he thinks he got fired because he asked guys, what's the biggest mistake that I made? And he said, maybe he made guys feel like they were too small. And then you even referenced, maybe his game management when they had big leads in the playoffs. Like
Oh yeah, it was bad.
Maybe that's what cost him his job there. So bottom line is he's learned from his mistakes. But I think, when you look back on it, he probably is, without a doubt, one of the best coaches to have in the NBA right now.
I mean, I've always loved him. I never agreed. The past, well, Gentry, when he was let go, I was like, okay, it's time, because he just didn't click with this roster at all.
Yeah, you were upset about the rotations, I think, right?
Oh yeah, but like then Stan Van Gundy comes along and plays Eric Bledsoe 36 minutes a game, and I never knew what rage was. But yeah, it's like the thing is like, and he was even doing it with Phoenix in the Lakers series, and past the Lakers series, he hasn't been doing it, which is where I'm not a fan of prevent offense, where you get a big lead and then you decide I'm going to dribble out the clock for about 14 seconds and then one pass shot. You don't get good shots in those situations, and if you miss that shot, that's pretty much a turnover, which is just like been the biggest thing for him. But he stopped doing it since the Lakers series. Like the Nuggets series, there's none of that. The Clippers series, there was none of that. Like even in these
against the Nuggets, and that was important too, because you see how injuries are killing teams. The fact that he was able to just get that sweep and just move on, that was huge. But yeah, man, there's a lot of storylines going into this thing. The Chris Paul journey is probably the most engaging. I mean, what about Giannis? You know, for some of the casual fans,
to
kind
me,
of has this reputation going in as someone that can't win in the playoffs, and this is a huge opportunity for him, especially with the Nets kind of coming back in the form next season. I think they'll probably be hard to beat if they're all healthy. So this is just a huge opportunity for him. It was a really long journey to get to.
I mean, narrative wise, he can take the crown as the guy, which it seems like he's been waiting for. He's got 2 MVPs.
Yeah.
Hasn't had that much playoff success until this year. But like, if he wins this, in probably casual people's eyes, he'll probably be like the guy in the NBA, even though his game's not the prettiest. But
yeah, no, he's got a lot of flaws in his game, but there's nobody better. There's nobody better on the fast break than Giannis. It's just such a nightmare. Well, when he's coming at you,
the things he
makes him so deadly.
The things he does well, no one else can do.
Yeah,
like he's basically a 7-footer that can run a break and slam it down people's throats. And he also doesn't care if he fails either, which is a good thing. Like you look at him.
Well, Kenny Smith said this when he starts missing the free throws and he airballs one, and he starts to play harder on other areas too. So that's what I like about it.
He's basically the complete opposite of Ben Simmons, where he lets it all get in his head and he doesn't just play the game. And Giannis is just like, he's just a basketball player.
Yeah, he's got a great attitude. I like Giannis. I'll be really happy either way for Giannis or Chris Paul in this situation.
But yeah, I'm real excited for this series. But unfortunately, the biggest story about this finals has nothing to do with any of these players on this team or the games that are be played on the floor. It all has to do with Rachel Nichols and the drama happening on ESPN. So
You hate ESPN, so you shouldn't really care about this. But like, I'm going to ask you this: is this going to affect the broadcast tonight?
I mean, other than Rachel Nichols ain't going to be on it. No.
No. Oh, okay.
I mean, their studio show is terrible, and it has like that. Okay, the Jump. I don't like the Jump either, but like the NBA Countdown show with Jay Williams and Jalen Rose and whoever has always been terrible. Like
So
they've
you
never
prefer the TNT one?
do what?
You prefer the TNT as opposed to the ESPN
I mean,
post-game shows?
I don't really like that one either because all they do is crap on the modern game, even though basketball is better than it. It's a lot like pro wrestling, where it's a bunch of old wrestlers crapping on how bad the current product is, even though it's doing its best ratings since 2002. But it's I don't know. It's just a lot of unnecessary drama, and it's like, anyways, for people that don't know, Rachel Nichols had her. She was basically broadcasting a Zoom call to ESPN without realizing it. And the New York Times got a hold of it. And basically in it, she was basically complaining that Maria Taylor was getting the finals hosting gig because she was black and not because and Rachel Nichols didn't get it because Rachel Nichols works harder than everyone, blah, 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 blah. And this is a whole bunch of racist shit on that call too, which, what a shocker. But it's just disgusting, and the apology she did yesterday came off as really phony and fake because she probably should have done that in private a year ago and not in public on TV 1 year later when she's already losing her spot. And it's just like a mess. And I don't know what Disney's going to do, but Disney owns ESPN and ABC and all that. The thing they hate most is bad press more than anything. And I just would not be shocked if there's a culling from all this. And LeBron's.
The bottom line is Rachel just thought they were going with Maria Taylor as more of the host for the halftime show because of, they want to promote diversity. But Rachel felt like because of her longevity, because of, the consistency of the Jump, that she should have had that spot, right?
Yeah, it's just like.
But she doesn't want to do the sideline reporting.
No.
Okay. All right. And she's not going to be there tonight.
She's not going to be on any finals coverage at all.
I don't really think this is going to affect the show at all, to be honest with you. Yeah. So
I mean, for like people know what's going on, but it's been like all people have talked about in the lead up to this game and not the actual freaking games itself. But
I don't think a lot of the fan base likes Rachel Nichols anyway. I think she's too much of a drama queen. So I don't think people are going to give a shit. But I know a lot of guys do like her, like Steven Jackson and a lot of the guys that she hired for the show. So they're going to be supportive of her. But is this going to affect the quality of the game, or is there going to be any awkward tension during halftime? Probably not. I mean, it is what it is. I mean, I'm not a big Jalen Rose fan anyway, so
no,
it doesn't really matter.
But yeah,
man, it's gonna be a great finals. It feels fresh. I mean, what do you see this as being more high scoring like it was in the regular season, or is it too tough to predict at this point?
I mean, but
like 86-84, some of those Buck games.
Their two regular season games were both decided by 1 point. I don't know.
It's like they played each other in the regular season twice with the limited schedule. But
every team still played each other twice. It's just the division teams got 3 games. It's like you played every team twice, and then you played within your division 3 games. That's how they got the 72.
But before we wrap it up, who has the coaching advantage, Phoenix or Milwaukee? I know you're a huge Pop fan. Budenholzer had some success with the Hawks and everything, but just in terms of, I don't know, I would say X's and O's is probably Budenholzer, but just overall, I would say Monty Williams in terms of being a motivator and with his strategy as well. I give the edge to Monty Williams.
I don't think it's like a big gap though.
But
Budenholzer,
weird though. He doesn't show a lot of personality in the press conferences. I don't know if it's just he just doesn't want to give a lot away. just sometimes to me, he just comes off very stoic. Would you agree with that?
I mean, the big bag on him is that he's not a people person, but he gets
Yeah.
extremely good results. Like the reason Rick Carlisle left Dallas is because he wanted the Milwaukee job, and he was anticipated on Budenholzer getting fired because he thought they were going to lose, and now he's secured the job. So now Rick Carlisle's in Indiana, but he's really smart on the floor. Like his stuff is like, the problem is like in the moment he might not. It's like he's a very good planner. I don't know how he is in the games, but like when he has film to look at and he can analyze what's going on, like you saw it in the last year's game one, he looked like he was like they looked lost and didn't know what to do. In game two, they completely shut what Trae Young was doing down.
Yeah.
Like, but Monty seems to be better in the moment currently. So
definitely. And you could definitely see, I think Monty can take guys out of the game. Even during games when the guy's dominant, he could switch things up in second half. He'll completely shut a guy down. You saw that with Julius Randle during the regular season, for example. So no, I agree with you there. But yeah, man, Budenholzer versus Monty Williams, it's not a bad coaching matchup at all.
No, like again, these teams are incredibly evenly matched. As long as Giannis is all right, but that remains to be seen.
You still think the Suns have more depth, but the Bucks probably have a better big three in terms of just all around offense and defensive play.
I would say defensive. I would like on paper, I would say they have the better defensive lineup because Chris Paul's good at getting steals, but he's not necessarily a stopper. Whereas you look at Milwaukee's like starting five. Brooks a great rim protector. Giannis is incredible at weak side help rim protecting. PJ Tucker's and Drew Holiday are dogs, and Chris Middleton's just extremely solid. Like he's probably the most underrated on that side of the ball.
I agree with you. I think Middleton's gonna be on Devin Booker a lot.
Oh yeah,
that's gonna be that's gonna be a great matchup. Middleton versus Devin Booker, without a doubt. I mean, I think we talked about it a little bit. You were talking about how they made the adjustments against Trae Young, but you don't think Lopez is going to hurt them with the pick and roll with Chris Paul?
It depends on how they go about it. Yeah, because Trae's all about speed and
Chris Paul's not going to turn the ball over. And I think he's a lot better at shooting to the right. Shooting to the right, for whatever reason, it's tough for righties. But Chris has definitely mastered it. That's one of the things I really admire about his game. Most righties like to, go left in terms of, creating space and shooting a jump shot. But, Chris loves going right. So
that right elbow area has been like his spot for 16 years, probably ever since the God, where'd he go? Wake Forest? Wasn't it Wake Forest?
Wake Forest, yeah.
Yeah, that's probably since those days, that right elbow jumper.
But he does more of the floater.
Yeah. Chris Paul's more of a shooter. Yeah. And I'm glad because after that first series, it looked like his shoulder is really bad, but it's gotten better as it's progressed. And that closeout performance.
I definitely think it is now.
It might have been just a sprain because he said he heard it and felt it pop. So it probably was just a sprain. That got better.
Yeah. Thankfully.
Yeah.
But before we go though, I did want to bring up the Chauncey Billups thing. I'm a little bit confused here because I thought Dame was cool with the hire. Now because of all the media's making a bigger deal out of the rape stuff than I originally thought. So what's the situation now? Does Dame want out, or is Dame cool with Chauncey Billups?
Okay.
Or is he of the mindset of, if you hired Chauncey Billups, why didn't you hire Jason Kidd? I know Jason Kidd didn't want the job ultimately, but
that's what he said publicly, but that's not what happened. Okay, so when Damian Lillard, that first night they get eliminated, and after they fired Terry Stotts, when he says publicly, "I want Jason Kidd for this job," the Portland Trailblazers season ticket hobbit had thousands of calls, but people threatening to cancel because they were going to hire Jason Kidd. That's what happened. It wasn't Jason Kidd removing himself. It was just the fan base wasn't going to tolerate it. And then it went real quiet in radio silence. And then it was like Chauncey Billups is getting the job. And then I'm not going to talk about what happened in 1997 other than it's really bad. If you look up the
I was
detail.
talking to someone at the park, and they were telling me that it was more of like a Tupac situation where you just had a whole bunch of guys hanging out together. It was more of they were at a party, that type of thing.
I'm
So
I'm
I
not
don't
gonna.
know. I don't have the exact details, but it sounds like Chauncey was just hanging out with the wrong crowd. That type of rape.
I'm not gonna brush anything aside like that.
Yeah.
But the thing is, like in 1997, you can bury stuff a lot easier than you can now. Because now, since you want to be a head coach and not just some guy talking on TV, people are going to look at your past. People are going to bring stuff up. And when you have a situation like this where you lost the civil case and had to pay out millions, you can't just say, "Oh, it was a learning experience and I grew as a person." But like that press
Yeah.
conference was a train wreck.
Oh yeah, definitely. Oh,
Because
you heard?
like,
Okay. Yeah, it
because
was.
like,
They couldn't get going on any basketball questions. I was shocked.
but it's like everything Portland's done this all, like, again, we still haven't got to the draft or the actual offseason itself, but like that that first press conference Neil O'Shea gave after firing Terry Stotts was terrible. He just seemed like really unhinged and Trumpian in cases where he think like I don't know what they're gonna do, but like Damian, like again, Damian Lillard, a lot like Disney, doesn't like bad press, and now he's attached his name to someone who's multi-time arrested for domestic abuse, and now he's got his name attached to somebody with a rape charge. It's like, does
Yeah,
he want to be?
Jason Kidd had an extremely bad reputation as well. That was multiple incidents. What I
Like,
remember.
to me, like Dallas hiring Jason Kidd after basically firing multiple people for sexual harassment in their front office, then go ahead and hiring Jason Kidd after saying we'll never allow anything like this in our organization again. That looks really bad too. Like the Dallas is a
The Dallas
giant
Mavericks
mess.
won Rookie of the Year with Dallas. He won a
Eh,
championship. Maybe that helps.
I don't.
But the bottom line is, I like the fit of Chauncey and Dame together. Two very smart point guards together. I think it makes a lot of sense. I'm just kind of baffled as to why did they make the hire if Dame is not cool with why didn't they do more research about Dame's feelings on the rape accusation? Because ultimately it's going to come down to Dame, right?
Dame said he did not know until basically they had already hired him, and it's
I
just
didn't
like,
know. I didn't know either.
yeah,
I don't even remember this being a story in Chauncey.
1997.
Yeah, so this would be like Chauncey's first month as a rookie with Rick
Yes.
Pitino. So I
Mhm.
don't remember this.
But like that's the point, is like shit like this could get buried back then, whereas now it's like, no.
Jason Kidd
So,
didn't get buried. That was the main difference. But
but
what do you think though? Does Dame? Where's Dame going to end up? I'm going to ask you right now. Your gut feeling, based on what you're hearing right now. You don't have to tell me where he's going to end up. Just
he
maybe just give insight. Is he going to be in Portland or not?
I don't know, because it's like he's put out publicly that he's thinking about asking to trade through his boy Chris Haynes.
Yeah.
But
Chauncey could be the out. I don't think he ever wanted to leave Portland, but this will be like an out for him. Like it gives him an excuse to leave
like
without fan base.
to
I
me,
see it happening.
to me, the two Neil O'Shea press conferences that have happened, the one after firing Terry Stotts and the one with Billups, that's plain enough excuse right there. Nobody would blame him, because like this organization looks terrible right now.
Didn't he make a comment where he said it's not me that's changing, it's guys taking off the mask or whatever? Is that a shot at O'Shea?
Yeah, I don't know, but it's like,
I honestly I don't want him to leave Portland. I want Portland to just get a defensive stopper in there and just see how it goes. Because I love that team. I think they got enough firepower.
They're going to need more than one, because Robert Covington was not enough.
No.
To me, it's like,
well, they got to give up on Nurkic. They're treating Nurkic like the Yankees are treating Gary Sanchez. It's just not working. So it should be interesting to see if they make any defensive move, because that's the real issue. It's not even a coaching issue. Maybe Chauncey come in there. I think down the road, I like the fit, but I don't know. It's probably not going to happen at this point. Is there a chance that Chauncey doesn't get the job now?
No, he's already signed the contract.
All right, so there's no way like the they're going to fire him over this?
Not right now.
Okay.
They have already put ink to paper and they've already paid that man money.
Yeah. The situation just sucks.
It's
But,
it's a mess.
yeah.
But like I don't know what he's gonna do. Like he's made it very public that he's unhappy with how all of this was
And the
handled.
bottom line is, you think the best fit for Dame, if there is a trade, it's Miami, Pelicans, Celtics, because they have all the assets.
Well, they got
they-
to me, like Celtics have Jaylen Brown. Miami, if they remove the protections on the Oklahoma City pick, can amass the number of picks, and they have some interesting young players, like Tyler Hero
Duncan Robinson.
and Duncan Robinson's a free agent, so it's like Tyler Hero, Precious Achua, and others to where they can get to match Dame. But what New Orleans has is New Orleans can trade 9 picks in a trade legally, and they have Brandon Ingram. And honestly, if there becomes a bidding war on Dame, I don't think anybody can beat New Orleans. And I know I'm not saying that from state of biasness.
Dame and Zion together, it looks good to me.
Like to me, this is not me. Like there's not a team that can top a trade offer of Brandon Ingram and 9 first-round picks. Like
so that this is a chance for them to cash in on those
2 trades from the Bucks and the Lakers.
Yeah,
it's like, to me, it's like this is what you got to do.
What are you hearing about AD for Dame straight up? Does LeBron want that or not?
That's not happening.
Okay, all right.
Because
so you're saying Pelicans, Miami, and then the Celtics, and
the thing is, like, whenever you trade away a superstar like that, you're gonna want. They always want a young player in picks, and the Lakers have neither because they traded all their picks to New Orleans.
Yeah, well, AD would be interesting because it kind of solves the defensive issues to a degree. It gives them exactly what they need. Plus, they have more than enough firepower in terms of offensive guards. So I like that trade for Portland. I'm just not sure if LeBron and the Lakers would sign off on it.
No, but anyways, we don't know what's going to happen. We got a draft to get through.
Off topic again.
Free agency is August 1st. Anyways, NBA Finals starts tonight. It'll be fun. We'll do endless speculation after it's over. We could probably go on for like 3 hours.
All right, so put it on the table now. What who you picking in this series? Tell them how. You don't have to tell them how many games, but gun to your head, who's winning this series?
Suns in 7. That's my gut.
I'll say this: if Giannis plays every single game in the series, I'm going to pick the Bucks in 6. But if Giannis does not play tonight, I'm picking Phoenix in 6. So overall, I'm going to assume Giannis is not playing. So I'm going with Phoenix in 6 games.
All right. Well, we were both right about the Bucks last time. We were wrong about the Clippers because Ty Lue, he just freaking screws up my predictions every time.
Oh man, that's another topic, man. But I thought you were a Ty Lue guy now.
What? He got 2 games in a series. He shouldn't have got 2 games. That's what I meant. I picked Suns in 4. Remember?
Oh, that's what you're talking about.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about.
Okay, I got you.
Yeah. Like, to do what they did without Kawhi Leonard was incredible, but we'll get to all that once these are over. These finals should be awesome. I'll enjoy them very much. You got anything to say to sign off, Robin? Or
no, man, just hope everybody enjoys the NBA Finals. First time ever in July. You got 2 teams that have never won it before. There's no reason not to be excited, and hopefully it does a lot better than the Stanley Cup Finals, which were kind of a bust. But
Milwaukee won it with Oscar Robertson and Kareem. Robin.
Oh yeah, no, you're right. It's just 2 teams that haven't been there in quite some time. I'll just say that.
Yes, 30 years and 50 years. Yeah, Ray Allen never made it, right? Yeah, Ray Allen never made it. Okay, yeah.
No, it didn't. All right. Enjoy the finals, guys.
All right, peace.
I said that because it just sounded good, but it really wasn't the case. Yeah. But 2 teams that hadn't been there in quite some time. We're going for got players going for their first championships. Hall of Famers, all-stars. So it should be a lot of fun.
I'm a nitpicker. All right, peace.